Well, Pastor Ed here with daily devotions, or not daily devotions, weekly devotions for Epiphany 3, the week of January the 25th, which of course was canceled, at least church in person was canceled due to snow. And as I've been doing now in the new year, instead of trying to scramble and put together daily devotions, I'm going to do something a little bit more in depth, I guess you'd say. More preparation, at least, for one weekly devotion. I'm trying to do it midweek, but some things came up, so I'm recording this on Thursday night, so that if Josh gets it out, you'd probably be able to access it on Friday, the 30th. Well, the other day I came across the following, and it touched me deeply. It touched me with such deep sadness because of the harsh and brutal reality being described, and especially because it was experienced by someone so young. You see, it was written by a young girl, just 13 years old. She writes, "Terrible things are happening outside. At any time of night and day, poor, helpless people are being dragged out of their homes. Families are torn apart. Men, women, and children are separated. Children come home from school to find that their parents have disappeared. Women return from shopping to find their houses sealed, their families gone. Everyone is scared." Perhaps you're wondering who she is. Is she a young teenager in Chicago or Los Angeles or El Paso or Portland or, heaven forbid, Minneapolis? She could be, but she's not. And what she writes could describe what's been happening in any number of American cities right now, but it doesn't. In fact, the reality is that she's actually been dead now for nearly 80 years. Her name was Anne Frank. Maybe you've heard of her. And the words I just read for you came from her diary, the Diary of Anne Frank, which was discovered after the war, World War II, by her father, the only one in her family to survive. Anne Frank, you see, was a Jewish Holocaust victim who died in 1945 at the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp after hiding with her family in an Amsterdam attic for 2 entire years before being arrested and sent first to Auschwitz and then Bergen-Belsen. And the situation that she described, one perpetrated by the Nazis during the 1940s, closely parallels, eerily parallels, what we're now witnessing ourselves today in 2026, which is what makes today's current events so downright disturbing and frightening even. We live in dark times. There's no sugarcoating it. And right now, at least, it seems that there's no way out, no escaping, no end in sight. It just keeps getting darker and darker and ever more frightening. And that's why I find some solace and hope, and undoubtedly the best path forward for us, in the next passage that I'm going to read for you now. It was written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It comes from his 1963 book, Strength to Love, and reads as follows: "Returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars," he says. "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that." Let me read that again. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Hate multiplies hate. Violence multiplies violence. And toughness multiplies toughness in a descending spiral of destruction. So when Jesus says, "Love your enemies," he is setting forth a profound and ultimately inescapable admonition, says King. Have we not come to such an impasse in the modern world that we must love our enemies or else? The chain reaction of evil, hate begetting hate, wars producing more wars, must be broken, or we shall be plunged into the dark abyss of annihilation. Powerful words from Dr. King, who, following the lead of Christ, modeled peaceful protest and nonviolence in his own life. As Christians, we believe that Jesus Christ is the light of the world, the only light that can drive out the darkness that so often envelops us, especially today. As Christians who worship and follow Jesus Christ, the light of the world, the only answer to the hatred and violence and brutality that permeates our society and our world is love and peace and kindness. The love and peace and kindness that were taught and modeled for us by Christ himself. But following Christ is no easy task, however. Consider Nicodemus, the focus of our gospel reading this past Sunday. As you recall, he came to see Jesus at night under the cover of darkness because he wasn't comfortable yet being identified as a possible follower of Christ. As Kyle Idleman writes in his book, Not a Fan, at night no one would see him, Nicodemus that is. At night he would avoid awkward questions from the other religious leaders. At night he could spend time with Jesus without anyone knowing. If he could speak with Jesus at night when no one was around, maybe he could begin a relationship with Jesus without having to make any real changes. He could follow Jesus without it impacting his job. In fact, his friends and family wouldn't even have to know. He could talk to Jesus at night and quietly make a decision in his heart to believe in Jesus, and that way it wouldn't disrupt his comfortable and established life. That sounds like a lot of fans I know, writes Idleman. Fans are happy to follow Jesus as long as it doesn't require any significant changes or have negative implications. Here is the reality that Nicodemus is about ready to have impressed on him. There's no way to follow Jesus without him interfering with your life. Following Jesus will cost you something. Following Jesus will always cost you something. Striving for and living out the love and peace and kindness of Christ is never an easy task. As Dr. King correctly understood, hate only multiplies hate. Violence only multiplies violence. And toughness only multiplies toughness in a descending spiral of destruction. He also once famously pointed out, perhaps repeating and expanding upon something that Mahatma Gandhi said originally. King remarked, if we do an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, we'll be a blind and toothless nation. So we must strive for a different way, a better way, the way of Christ. As a Christian, as a Christmas present this year, I received a calendar of daily devotions taken from the writings of Billy Graham. Coincidentally, the entry for January the 28th, the very same day I started writing this weekly devotion, says this: have you ever noticed that if you continue to hate someone, whatever they did to you will continue to hurt you? Our anger and hatred just keeps reopening the emotional wounds of the past, says Billy Graham. This is one reason why we need to let go of the past and with God's help release our anger and hatred and replace them with his love. If we don't, our souls will be poisoned. Will be poisoned the rest of our life by bitterness and resentment, instead of reflecting the love and mercy of Christ. Remember Jesus' command, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5, verse 44. It's the only way forward and out of the darkness.